The most powerful force shaping boys today is not their fathers. It's not even school, but it's an algorithm. You see, every swipe, every scroll, every suggested for you is a tiny fingerprint on the soul of an entire generation, and and we barely notice because it feels normal. It seems harmless and it feels inevitable. But we hand boys smartphones before they've had a real conversation about what boundaries could look like, what intimacy or even self-worth is to them, and what they find isn't just entertainment, but they also find an ideology. It's it's a script, and one that trains them how to think, how to feel, and most tragically, how not to feel. And and it starts far younger than we think. See, a 10-year-old boy opens up YouTube to watch Minecraft videos, and 3 hours later, he's deep in a commentary rabbit hole that's mocking women and praising aggression and preaching what alpha energy looks like. And no one even talked to him. No one recruited him. He was groomed by the algorithm, not into a cult, but into a worldview. And and it's not always overtly violent rhetoric that that does the most damage. Sometimes it's the normalization of numbness, the the constant message that vulnerability is weakness, that emotional restraint is masculine, that being seen is cringeworthy. So what do boys do? Well, they disconnect. They they perform. They hide. And behind the memes, behind sarcasm, behind curated avatars that show everything except what's really going on the inside, this is the landscape that our young boys are in. We we see the symptoms, we see the numbing, the avoidance, the isolation, the rejection of authority. But but what we're missing is an even deeper wound. You see, boys don't know how to belong. Not truly. Like they've they've been trained to collect attention, but not to actually experience connection. They've been they've been taught how to compete, but not to commune and connect. They've been they've been fed a steady stream of performance culture, but almost nothing on emotional integrity. And now we wonder why they ghost and they rage and they implode. It's not just that they're hurting. It's that no one has ever taught them how to stay. Not in a friendship, not in a feeling, not in a not in a hard conversation. So so the algorithm becomes their compass. And that compass, it always points in one direction, and that's constant engagement, continual engagement. Not wisdom, not depths, just more clicks and more swipes and more watch time. And what keeps boys watching? It's outrage, it's fear, it's ego boosts, it's anything that mimics connection but keeps them in this hollow state. Anything that anything that makes them feel strong while staying emotionally safe, that's what keeps them hooked. But emotional safety isn't built through control. Instead, it's emotional safety is built through integrity. When a boy learns that his feelings and his values and his actions can all align, that's integrity. It's built through intimacy as well. When someone actually sees him, like really sees him and says, you don't have to perform to be welcome here. That kind of safety, that's the kind that the algorithm cannot give. But the human heart can. And we need to get better at offering that. Because here's the thing most parents and mentors have not been told. And that is that the culture of masculinity isn't just taught in locker rooms anymore. It's taught in comment sections. A kid doesn't need a toxic older brother or an absent dad to adopt harmful beliefs. He just needs a TikTok feed that's curated by 2 weeks of insecurity. He needs to get dumped and then Google how to get her back. He only needs to feel invisible and stumble across a rage-filled podcast, a clip from this podcast that tells him to level up or get left behind. This is not abstract anymore. This is actually the daily formation that our boys are being indoctrinated in. This is digital masculinity boot camp, and it does not ask for permission. So, knowing this, what do we do? What can we do? Well, we can start by refusing to shame. We don't fix boys by blaming them for being influenced. No, we heal them by acknowledging what they were never taught. We ask better questions. Questions like, who taught you what it means to be strong? Or what do you think makes a man desirable? Or how do you handle pain when you're alone? What scares you about being truly seen? So we invite honesty into these opportunities. We sit with them in the discomfort, and then we model what it looks like to live with integrity within ourselves. We model what that looks like. And it's not perfect, but we can be present, because boys don't need heroes. What boys really need are mirrors. Mirrors that can reflect back to them. They need to see men who rest without guilt. They need to see men who feel without shame. Men who connect without the fear of looking soft. They need to watch us admit that we don't know, so they learn that not knowing is not failure. It's actually what growth looks like. They need to see us slow down when we want to, or when we get tempted to distract, to stay when it feels easier just to run away, to feel when we'd rather just numb out. Because every time a boy sees a man live with integrity and intimacy, he's being shown another pathway. And that's a pathway that doesn't lead to status or addiction or performative relationships or echo chambers of anger. Instead, it's one that leads back to wholeness. And here's where it gets deeply personal. The boys who are being raised by the algorithms, they're not just someone else's sons. They're actually us. They're the they're the younger versions of the man who never got to cry, the teenager who learned that he had to hide heartbreak behind porn or the pickup industry, the adult who still wonders if anyone would stay if they really knew the real version of who they are. See, we don't just need to save them. Instead, we need to rescue the parts of our own selves that were left online. And the rescue mission, it doesn't start with unplugging the internet. No, it starts with reclaiming our humanity, bit by bit, moment by moment. And so we close the laptop and ask, who do I want to be when no one's watching? What does that version of me look like? And so we take the risk of being real, even when it feels too vulnerable to bear. And then we invite boys into our lives, not to teach them how to get more, but instead how to be more, how to be more grounded, how to be more whole, how to be more human. And when they see that, they'll know. They'll know that there's a different way to be a man. And that way isn't sold by an algorithm. It's instead modeled by men who refuse to trade their souls for screen time. So let that be us.